Have you ever thought your own home could be hiding someone inside it? I never did. Not in a million years. My name is Eleanor Reynolds, I'm 68, retired, and I've lived in my townhouse for over 40 years. I thought I knew every inch of it, every squeaky floorboard, every crack in the walls, every corner where sunlight fell just so in the late afternoon. But that day, as I was packing my life into cardboard boxes, something happened that would make me question everything. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. I was folding clothes into a box when I heard it, a hollow thump behind the wall. At first, I told myself it was just the pipes, or maybe the heating system. But the sound repeated, subtle, deliberate, almost like a tap-tap-tap rhythm. My heart started beating faster. Homes make noises, sure, but not like this. This was intentional. I moved my closet to double-check. That's when I noticed it. A doorknob. Behind the full-length mirror that had reflected decades of my life back at me, a small brass doorknob glinted faintly in the afternoon light. It shouldn't have been there. I had never seen it before. The key was already in the lock. I froze. Who would put a key in a door I never knew existed? And why? And then, just as I leaned closer, my phone buzzed. Not from my pocket, not on the counter, on the other side of the door. My own phone. I frowned, heart hammering, trying to make sense of it. A message. Hello, Eleanor. My hands trembled. Who was on the other side? How long had they been there? Were they watching me while I lived my life, moving boxes, folding clothes, pretending everything was normal? The house I thought I knew, the home I had trusted for decades, suddenly felt alien. Each shadow in the room seemed darker, each creak in the floorboards louder. I took a deep breath and touched the doorknob. Cold metal. Smooth. Waiting. I knew I shouldn't. But curiosity is a powerful thing. Slowly, I turned it. And that's when I realized something that no one could have predicted. I always thought my house had quirks, little oddities that made it charming. A crooked floorboard here, a drafty window there. But I never imagined it had secrets like this. The moment I turned the doorknob, a rush of cold air hit my face. The door creaked open to reveal a narrow passage, just wide enough for one person. My first thought was disbelief. Who would build a secret door behind a closet in a house like mine? I stepped inside cautiously. The floor beneath was clean, far cleaner than it should have been for a space hidden for decades. Dust-free scuff marks led deeper into the passage, as if someone had been moving through here recently. A faint smell of perfume lingered, not mine, and it made the hair on my arms stand up. I tried to convince myself it was a mistake, maybe some contractor's leftover renovation trick, but the signs were too deliberate. Halfway down the hall, I noticed small items left behind. A pair of slippers, slightly too small to be mine. A half-empty water bottle. A notebook, its pages filled with writing I didn't understand, dates, times, and initials I didn't recognize. Someone had been living here, using this secret door, perhaps for months. My stomach twisted. How could I have lived here for 40 years and never noticed? I laughed nervously, trying to shake the fear. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe one of my neighbors thought it would be funny. But my phone buzzed again. On the other side of the door. A new message, I see you. My hand shook so badly that I dropped the notebook. My heart pounded in my chest. Whoever, or whatever, was behind that door knew I had discovered them. I forced myself to take a deep breath and look further. At the end of the passage was a small room, almost like a storage closet, but lived in. There were blankets neatly folded on a mattress that hadn't belonged to me for decades, and a small lamp casting a warm glow that made the shadows in the room dance. My eyes went wide when I noticed a calendar on the wall, last updated just a few weeks ago. Someone had been using this room, tracking time, living in a space I thought was mine alone. I froze. My mind raced. Who was doing this? How long had they been coming and going? And more importantly, what were they planning next? Then my phone buzzed again, louder this time. A text from the same number: "You shouldn't be here." I backed away slowly, heart hammering, realizing that the real danger wasn't the hidden room, it was knowing I wasn't alone. But what I found next inside that room would make my blood run cold, and change everything I thought I knew about my home. By the next morning, fear had turned into determination. I had to know who had been living behind my closet, and how long. I wasn't going to let some unknown presence take over the house I'd called home for 40 years. My hands still trembled, but I steeled myself. I started with the hidden room, carefully documenting everything without touching more than I had to. Every detail mattered. The room was small but organized. A few personal items: a worn jacket draped over a chair, a stack of newspapers, and a diary with entries spanning months. The entries didn't just mention daily activities, they mentioned me. My routines, the times I left for errands, when I would sleep or answer the door. Whoever had been here knew me. And that knowledge made my skin crawl. I began to think of potential suspects. There was Tom, the handyman from 2 doors down, always friendly, always helpful. Could he be capable of something like this? Then there was Carl, my daughter's ex-boyfriend. He had always been a little too comfortable in my house when he visited. Or maybe it was someone I barely knew, a distant relative I'd only met once decades ago. My mind raced with possibilities, each one worse than the last. I decided to set small traps, subtle ones, to catch whoever was using the room. Nothing violent, just clues. I left a note on the floor, shifted a few objects, and marked the corners of the doorframe with invisible tape. I even set up my phone to record sound when the door moved. Every creak, every whisper could give me a hint. That night, as I lay in bed, I heard faint footsteps. Soft, deliberate. Not the usual settling of the house. My heart leapt. Someone was inside the walls again. I sat up quietly, listening. My breathing was shallow, my ears straining. The sound stopped near the closet. I wanted to scream, to run, but I forced myself to stay calm. Whoever it was, they were clever, careful, and patient. The most chilling discovery came when I opened a drawer in the hidden room. Inside was a framed photo of me, taken 20 years ago. My younger self, smiling, unaware. And scribbled on the back in shaky handwriting, "I've always been watching." My blood ran cold. Someone had not only been using this room, they had been obsessed. I backed out slowly, my hands shaking. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but I couldn't. I had to know the truth. And just as I thought I had uncovered all the clues, a noise at the far end of the passage made me freeze. Something, or someone, was moving closer, and I realized that discovering the hidden room had only drawn them out. But what I saw when I finally turned the corner would make me question everything about the people I thought I could trust. By the third night, I knew I couldn't wait any longer. Whoever had been living behind my closet wasn't just sneaky, they were bold. The footsteps, the notes, the photo, they all pointed to one thing: this was no ordinary intruder. I had to face them. I armed myself with my phone, set to record, and kept a small flashlight in my other hand. I called my friend Marcy, who lived a few blocks away, and told her to stay on the line in case anything went wrong. My hands shook, but my resolve was firm. I opened the hidden door slowly. The passage was darker than before, shadows stretching across the walls like thin fingers. Every step I took echoed softly. And then I heard it, a low shuffle from the room at the end. My heart raced, but I forced myself forward, whispering, "Who's there?" A figure emerged. At first, I couldn't see clearly, just a silhouette. Then the face came into focus. Tom, the neighbor, the friendly handyman who had fixed my leaky faucet last month, was standing there. Calm. Smiling, almost smug. "Eleanor," he said softly, "I thought you'd find me sooner or later." My mind spun. How could I have been so wrong? He had always seemed harmless, even kind. And yet, here he was, living in my house without my knowledge, watching my routines, tracking me. Betrayal hit me harder than fear. "Why?" I whispered, my voice trembling. Tom didn't flinch. He spoke slowly, almost rehearsed. "You have a beautiful home, Eleanor. I just wanted to be part of it. I didn't mean to scare you. I was careful. I never touched your things, much." His calmness made my blood run cold. I tried to stay rational, to reason with him, but the notebook, the calendar, the slippers, they all screamed that he had been here far too long. And then I saw it, another door at the far end of the hidden room. I hadn't noticed it before. My stomach dropped. Someone else? Another intruder? Before I could react, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. "Nice to meet you, Eleanor." My heart seized. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. Tom's eyes flicked toward the new door, and for the first time I saw hesitation. Fear. And suddenly, everything I had believed about the safety of my home, about the people around me, unraveled. I realized then, standing in the middle of the hidden room, that discovering the secret passage had opened a door to a reality I wasn't ready for, one that might never fully close. And what waited behind that second door would reveal a truth I could never have imagined. Something darker, stranger, and far more personal than anyone could anticipate. I never thought leaving my house would feel like escaping a trap I didn't even know existed. After that night, every familiar corner, every creaky floorboard, every drawer I had opened in comfort suddenly felt like it could be hiding someone else. Eleanor Reynolds, the woman who had lived alone for decades, who thought she knew every inch of her home, was no longer sure of anything. In the days that followed, I packed my remaining belongings with an urgency I hadn't felt before. Boxes piled high, taped and labeled, but I couldn't stop checking every closet, every cabinet, every wall corner. The hidden room still haunted me. The slippers, the notebook, the photo, evidence of someone who had silently observed my life, would never leave my mind. Even after Tom was confronted, the unknown number texting me reminded me that this nightmare wasn't fully over. I felt exposed, violated, and strangely, alive with a kind of anxious awareness I hadn't experienced in years. As I carried the last box to the moving truck, I thought about the irony. A home I had trusted completely had betrayed me. I had believed that age and experience made me safe, that living a quiet life protected me from danger, but I was wrong. That hidden passage had taught me that reality doesn't always match perception. People you trust can hide the darkest intentions. Spaces you know can hold secrets you cannot imagine. And yet, I felt something else, too. Empowerment. Knowledge. The fact that I had confronted the intruder, documented everything, and finally moved on meant I had reclaimed some control. The fear remained, but it no longer dominated me. I had faced what most would avoid, uncovered the truth, and survived. As I closed the door to my old house for the last time, I paused. My phone buzzed. Another text from an unknown number, "See you soon." My heart lurched, but this time I smiled faintly, knowing I had prepared myself better than I ever could have imagined. Life moves forward, but some shadows follow, and sometimes, that's just how reality works. So, if you live in a place you think you know, check the closets. Look behind the mirrors. Listen to the walls. You never know what, or who, might be hiding. And remember, curiosity can be dangerous, but ignorance can be worse. The lesson is clear. Homes are not always safe, and trust is fragile. What I learned that year will stay with me forever. But one thing is certain, no one will ever take my sense of awareness away again. And maybe, just maybe, the secrets of the past aren't done with us yet.